Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Jamuna Tira Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ramo 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radhe
Jaya Radha
Gokulananda Radha
Gokulananda Radhe.
Jaya Radha Landanishwar Radha Landanishwar Radhe
Jaya Radha
Landanishwar Radha Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Nitya Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gora Hari Bol Nitya Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gora Hari Bol Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, all the devotees, my humble obeisances to at your lotus feet, to all of you. So thank you for joining us to our Friday Chaitanya Charitamrita class. Today our topic is to discuss the childhood pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, and it is described in the 14th chapter of Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Just for recap, Chaitanya Charitamrita is composed of three sections. It's called Adi Leela, Madhya Leela, and Antya Leela. And Adi Leela, Lord's childhood and his appearance and everything is described. So today we'll be discussing the 14th chapter. We can say overview of 14th chapter. And I request all of you to kindly bless me and pray for me that I can properly narrate some of the pastimes which are mentioned in this wonderful book. So let's begin with our Mangalacharan. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So, I'm actually very fortunate that today I'm given this opportunity to talk about the childhood pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Uh, as we all discussed in earlier classes, Chaitanya Charitamrita, or discussing of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, is like a postgraduate study. Bhagavad Gita is considered kind of a school education or primary school education. Studying the Srimad Bhagavatam is the graduation, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is a post-graduation study. So I don't qualify, I don't consider myself qualified to speak on these high topics of Chaitanya Charitamrita, but the childhood pastimes are so sweet that I feel very happy to just repeat what I've read in Chaitanya Charitamrita and what I've heard from the senior devotees and my Guru Maharaj and Prabhupada. So we'll be covering just the 14th chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is in Adi Leela. So this chapter begins with a very wonderful shloka. So I would request all of you to be very attentive in discussing this shloka. I'll just share one screen and sorry, it's not this one. You just give me 1 second. I think I lost my screen. Just give me 1 second. Okay, here it is now. So I'll just read the first shloka translation. So it says here, things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. So these are the prayers offered by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the compiler of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And when I read the shloka, I became very happy and jubilant because here it is mentioned that simply by remembering Lord Chaitanya, the things that are very difficult to understand becomes very easy. So I was finding it, very difficult to speak on Chaitanya Charitamrita, but after reading this shloka, I became very happy. So I will request one of the devotee to read the purport of this shloka, and we'll get a lot of enthusiasm and support in reading this. Any volunteers?
Prabhuji, could I read?
Yes, Gorarti Mataji, please go ahead.
In this book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabodhanand Saraswati says, one who receives a little favor from the Lord becomes so exalted that he does not care even for liberation, which is sought after by many great scholars and philosophers. Similarly, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya considers residence in the heavenly planets a will o' the wisp. He surpasses the perfection of mystic yoga power because for him the senses are like snakes with broken fangs. A snake is a very fearful and dangerous animal because of his poison fangs. But if these fangs are broken, the appearance of a snake is no cause for fear. The yoga principles are meant to control the senses, but there is no scope for the senses of one engaged in the service of the Lord to be dangerous like snakes. These are the gifts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Hari Bhakti Vilas confirms that difficult things become easy to understand if one remembers Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and easy things become very difficult to understand if one forgets him. We actually see that even those who are very great scientists in the eyes of the general public cannot understand the very simple idea that life comes from life because they do not have the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They defend the false understanding that life comes from matter, although they cannot prove that this is a fact. Modern civilization, therefore, progressing on the basis of this false scientific theory, is simply creating problems to be solved by the so-called scientists. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to describe the pastimes of his appearance as a child, because one cannot write such transcendental literature by mental speculation. One who writes about the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be especially favored by the Lord. Simply by academic qualifications, it is not possible to write such literature. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, Gorarti Mataji. So, my dear devotees and friends, here we get a master key of how to make things easy. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says here, things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, when he was asked to write Chaitanya Charitamrita, he was also finding very, unqualified to describe Lord's pastimes. But as other devotees, covered in last few classes, how miraculously and how with the divine arrangement, this service was given to him. But he always prays very nicely, in the beginning part of the chapter, and asks for the blessings from the Lord and these devotees. So in this particular chapter, in this shloka, he gives us the great benediction that in our spiritual life, in our day-to-day life, the things which support our spiritual life, things are sometimes very difficult. But if you simply want to make these difficult things easy, simply remember Lord Chaitanya, and things becomes very easy. And moment we remember, we forget Lord Chaitanya, then even the easy things becomes very difficult. So this is the one teachings I humbly want to request all of you to take home today. How to make things easy in our life. Simply by remembering Lord Chaitanya, things become very easy. So, with that note, I would like to begin the our class, the narration of Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes. Now, Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, they are unlimited pastimes. But with the mercy of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, we get some idea, of Lord's pastimes. Now, this chapter is, very deep, and there are many pastimes we can cover, from this chapter. But to make the best use of our time, what we'll do is that we'll cover three things. One is the Lord's name giving ceremony, how how Lord Chaitanya was named. So we'll do certain reading about his name giving ceremony. We'll be just reading from the shlokas from this chapter, and then we'll narrate the two stories from this chapter. One is about a Brahman coming to visit Jagannath Mishra, Lord Chaitanya's father, and the second story about two thieves, trying to steal Lord Chaitanya. So we'll cover these two stories, and if time permitting, there is one more story that if time permits, we'll narrate that story as well. So this story, this chapter is all about Lord's childhood pastimes. So as soon as a child is born in any household, the first thing happens, the major thing happens, is the name giving ceremony. So Lord also had received name giving ceremony. Similar like Krishna and Balaram, even when they appeared in this world, Gargamuni, they named Krishna and Balaram, looking at their chart, the horoscope. And here, in case of Lord Chaitanya also, he received the name, which name he received from Nilambar Chakravarti. Nilambar Chakravarti was the maternal grandfather of Lord Chaitanya. So he received this particular name. So the story before the name giving ceremony is that Lord Chaitanya, he he started walking, and when he will walk, Mother Sachi, Lord Chaitanya's mother, she would observe that there are the footprints in his house, and in these footprints there are signs, some mysterious signs are there, very auspicious signs. There's in the footprint there is a sign, there's a symbol of conch, chakra, thunderbolt, fish, and an umbrella. These five symbols were there, and these symbols actually they are only to be found in the feet of Krishna or the Vishnu. You don't find these symbols in anybody's footprint. So initially, when Mother Sachi saw this, she called her husband Jagannath Mishra, saying that these footprints are there in our house with these symbols. How this can come into our house? So Jagannath Mishra, he thought maybe because they had a worship of Shaligram Shila in their house, they thought that our Shaligram Shila must be taking the form, the proper bodily form, and they must be walking in our house, and because of them, we have these footprints in our house. But then later on, Shachi Mata, she also observed that these are the signs on the foot of his son also. the Lord Chaitanya. And then she thought this must be a very special child. So she immediately called her father. His name was Nilambar Chakravarti. And Nilambar Chakravarti named him as Vishwambar. So how this name came about Vishwambar, that we are going to read now. So if any volunteers are there, then we would like to we'll be reading the 7th to 20th shloka. So if I can get this away, just a second. I'll go share. Stop share. Just a second.
If there's no other volunteers, Prabhuji, then I will read. If anybody else doesn't want to read, then I'll read.
Any volunteer? If no volunteers, then Gora Hari Mataji.
Yeah, yes. So if there's anybody else would like to read first.
I don't mind reading. May I, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
7 to 14.
So I hope the screen is visible. We'll be reading from 7 till 28 sloka. So about 13 of them.
Thank you. So, when the Lord tried to walk in his small footprints, the specific marks of Lord Vishnu are visible, namely the flag, thunderbolt, conch shell, disc, and fish. Seeing all these marks, neither his father nor his mother could understand whose footprints they were. Thus, struck with wonder, they could not understand how those marks could be possible in their home. Jagannath Mishra said, certainly child Krishna is with the Shalagram Shila. Taking his childhood form, he is playing within the room. While Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra were talking, child Nimai woke up and began to cry. And Mother Sachi took him on her lap and allowed him to suck her breast. While Mother Sachi was feeding the child from her breast, she saw on his lotus feet all the marks that were on the floor of the room and called for Jagannath Mishra. When Jagannath Mishra saw the wonderful marks of the soul of his son, he became very joyful and privately called for Nilambara Chakravarti.
Yeah, just a second.
When Nilambara Chakravarti saw those marks, he smilingly said, formerly, I ascertained all this by astrological calculation and noted it in writing. There are 32 bodily marks that symptomize a great personality, and I see all those marks on the body of this child. There are 32 bodily symptoms of a great personality. 5 of his bodily parts are large, 5 fine, 7 reddish, 6 raised, 3 small, 3 broad, and 3 grave. This baby has all the symptoms of Lord Narayan on his palms and soles. He will be able to deliver all the 3 worlds. This child will preach the Vaishnava cult and deliver both his maternal and paternal families. I propose to perform a name-giving ceremony. We should observe a festival and call for the Brahmanas because today is very auspicious. In the future, this child will protect and maintain all the world. For this reason, he is to be called Vishwambara. After hearing Nilambara Chakravarti's prediction, Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra observed the name-giving festival in great joy, inviting all the Brahmanas and their wives.
Hare Krishna. Thanks so much, Mataji. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Hare Krishna.
So, as you know, the Lord is unlimited. So are his names. Even the Lord has unlimited names. So Krishna, he also has so many names. And then we have a very famous Vishnu Sahasranam, Vishnu's 1,000 names. Uh, so Lord Chaitanya also has many names. He has got also unlimited names, but the names that we know that when he appeared in this world, the first name was given was Vishwambar by his maternal grandfather. Because from this chart, from horoscope chart, he could make out that actually he is the Lord himself, and he has come to protect everyone or to maintain everyone in this world. So they named him as Vishwambar. There's another name of Lord Chaitanya is Nimai, because he was born under a neem tree. So that's the reason he's one of the other name is Nimai. So the neem tree and Nimai. And then there is another name, is a very famous name called Gora Hari. Gora Hari, which was the name given by all the ladies in Navadvip. Because the Lord Chaitanya, he had a very wonderful golden complexion. So they gave this name Gora Hari. And is also known as Gauranga, which is a very famous name, especially our devotees from Scotland. They made this name so popular, all over England and around the world. The people devotees just chant Gauranga, they shout and chant Gauranga. This name is so famous. So Gauranga, the meaning of Gauranga is that Gaura Anga. Gaura means golden, and Anga means the body or the bodily parts. So the Lord has a very golden complexion. And now one must be thinking, where is this Lord Chaitanya? Where is Chaitanya name came from? So when Lord Chaitanya, when he received the initiation from his Guru Maharaj, Ishwarapuri, then he named him as Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So from him came the Chaitanya. So the many names are there. So these are some of the names that we know of. So then Lord Chaitanya, he was given this wonderful name Vishwambar, and then Nimai, then Gora Hari, Gauranga, and later on it came to know as known as Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. But as Lord was growing up, now we have to understand that Lord's growing up in Navadvip and Lord's Krishna's growing up in Vrindavan. Actually, there are so many similarities are there. That in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, he comes for three reasons in this world. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinayascha dushkritam, dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So he comes for three reasons. One is to please his devotees, and second is to kill the miscreants, and third is to re-establish the principles of religion. So Lord Chaitanya, he will be re-establishing the Yuga Dharma. He'll inaugurate the Yuga Dharma of this age, which is called Sankirtan, Nam Sankirtan Yajna. So that he'll be re-establishing the principles of religion in this age, Kali, in the age of Kali. He will not kill the miscreants, but rather he will kill the demoniac tendency in the people's heart. So through this Sankirtan movement, he will be killing this demoniac tendency that everybody has from the heart. And then the topmost reason that he comes is to please his own devotees. The devotees who are so attached to the Lord comes and pleases his own devotee. So when Lord Chaitanya, when he was growing up, a very interesting thing would happen. The Lord Chaitanya was so beautiful. The beauty personification. He is himself. Actually, there is any beauty in this world, that beauty comes from the Lord. So he was so beautiful, and all the ladies in Navadvip, they wanted to come, and play with Lord Chaitanya. But Lord Chaitanya, he would just cry, and to pacify Lord Chaitanya, they would have to chant Hare Krishna. The moment they stop chanting Hare Krishna or sing Hare Krishna, Lord will start crying. So this was, regularly happening. See, if you have to be with Lord Chaitanya, you have to chant Krishna's name. You have to dance. In fact, Lord Chaitanya himself would dance. Uh, so this shows that Lord, he was very serious, about his mission in this world, is to re-establish these principles of religion, this Kali Yuga, Nam Sankirtan. So right from childhood, he would do that. In fact, the day he was born on the Gaur Purnima, he arranged it in such a way that he appeared on the moon eclipse. And also at the time when people would go to the Ganga and chant the names of Krishna. So he appeared. Since that day, people were constantly chanting Krishna's name. So these ladies, they'll come and they would be so attracted by his beauty, but Lord will make them chant. The moment they stop chanting, the Lord will cry again. So this was so wonderful. And then Lord started growing up very nicely. And there are so many stories are there in this chapter, but we'll just focus on this two stories, in fact. So the first story is that now Lord Chaitanya, he is grown up. He is I think about 4 or 5 years of age. And one day a Brahman comes visiting Navdvip, the place where Lord Chaitanya, his father, was living. And Jagannath Mishra, his father, he was so respectful to the sadhus, those who are renounced order of life. So he invited this Brahmana into their house, and they offered him nice place to sit. And then Jagannath Mishra was so humbly asking, that how can we serve you, and he said, we would like to offer you nice feast. So please allow us to offer you nice feast. So this Brahman, he said that I have a small Gopal deity, a small form of Krishna, and this is my vow that I cook personally myself, then I feed my Gopal, and then I take my prasadam. So Jagannath Mishra was so happy. He says, yes, we'll make all the arrangements in this house. So you please make please cook for your Gopal, and anything that you require, we'll make all this arrangement. So immediately, Sachima and all these ladies, the neighborly ladies, they cleaned the kitchen and they provided all the bhoga that is required for cooking. And then this Brahmana, so happily, he cooked in the kitchen. And by the time he finished cooking, it was a bit late night. And all the ladies in the house, they all went to sleep. And Jagannath Mishra also kept seclusion to him. And now the Brahmana, he's prepared the nice bhoga tray for Krishna to eat, and he offered it to his Gopal deity, and he started ringing the bell. And he offered the prayers, Namo Brahmani Devaya Go Brahmani Hitacha Jagaddaita Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. And he was praying to his Gopal that Gopal, please come and eat this bhoga. So he was very intensely, with lot of devotion, and lot of sincerity, he was praying to his Gopal. And he opened his eyes, and what he saw, he couldn't believe in front of his eyes. That this small Nimai, he has come and he's eating from the plate of Gopal. Now this Brahman has never seen like this in his life. That he's offering it to his Gopal, and a small child is coming and eating from his plate. And this Brahman became very upset. He said, hi, how has this happened? And I'm offering my offering to Gopal, and this small child has come and he has ruined all my offering. And and he was so upset. And then Jagannath Mishra and all the ladies, they heard the commotion, and they they came to the same place, where this was happening, and they asked what has happened. So Brahman said, see, this is what has happened. That I was offering this boga to the Gopal, and this small child has eaten all the offering. I cannot offer anything to the Gopal. So the Brahman, so Jagannath Mishra said, my sincere apologies, that this disturbance has come into your offering. So you please cook again, and then offer it to your Gopal deity. Now, by this time, Brahman, he said, actually there must be some reason behind this. He says, maybe Krishna, he doesn't want me to eat today. So that's why this has happened. So Jagannath Mishra said, no, you please cook again. If in a Grahastha ashram, if we are the Grahasthas, and if we can't, serve the Brahmanas or the guest in our house, our Grahastha ashram has of no value. So we request you to please cook again. So then, after a lot of convincing, the Brahmana finally he got convinced. Yes, let me cook again. So they made clean the kitchen again. They provided all the bhogas to the Brahmana, and then by this time, it is really late at night. So Brahmana cooked, and then he brought the offering to his Gopal, and by this time, they asked all the ladies to take Nimai to some different house, and then that by make sure that he doesn't disturb the offering any now. So then Jagannath Mishra, he made all the arrangement, and the ladies, they took the Lord Chaitanya away in a different house. So now Brahman, is brand new bhoga plate for the Gopal, and he's ringing his bell, and then he's ringing, very intensely, very sincerely. Oh Gopal, please come and I take this offering. This is for your pleasure. And on the other side, these ladies, they are playing with Nimai, and then Nimai was chanting and dancing, and without their knowledge, Lord Chaitanya or Nimai, he slipped from that room, and he came the same place where this Brahmana was doing his offering, and he was ringing his bell, and then Brahmana was very, with lot of devotion and sincere prayers, to Krishna, that Krishna, oh Gopal, please come and accept this offering. And he opened his eyes, and lo and behold, again, the same Nimai, he's, with his hand, he's eating from that plate. Now Brahman, he thought, maybe he's dreaming. So the second time again, this child, from where he has come, is hi, this boy, he's again ruined my offering again. And then, Jagannath Mission, all the ladies came, and they couldn't believe that how come Nimai slipped from that other place and he came here. And then Jagannath Mishra was so upset with Nimai. He said, why did you do this? And and the Brahmana, he said, no, don't chastise this boy. It is not his fault. Today Krishna must be wanting me to fast today. That's why this is happening again and again. So then, Jagannath Mishra, he fell at the feet of this Brahman. He said, I'm so sorry that we cannot serve you very nicely, but please cook again. And now, Brahman looked at the Jagannath Mishra and says, you want me to cook again? Twice the offering has been disturbed. Now this is very late at night. I don't want to cook again. I think Krishna wants me to fast today. And then, Jagannath Mishra, the tears in his eyes, he says, if we cannot serve you, a Brahmana like you, in our house, our householder life has got no value. Please cook again. And Brahmana, he was saying, no, I think, Krishna doesn't want me to eat today. I want to fast now. So by this time, Lord Chaitanya's elder brother, Vishwarup, he enters in the room. And, he falls at the feet of, this Brahmana and requests him, please cook again, please give us the opportunity to serve you again. when this Brahmana, he looked at the Vishwarup, again Vishwarup, it is none other than Balram. So by looking at the beauty of Vishwarup, this Brahman finally got, convinced. He agreed to cook again. So again, Mother Sachi, she cleaned the kitchen and made all the arrangements for Brahman to cook. And now Jagannath Mishra says, now I will take the personal responsibility of guarding Nimai. So, Jagannath Mishra, he put him into his room with the ladies, they'll put him into sleep. And Jagannath Mishra personally, with a stick in his hand, he's guarding the room. And he's locked from outside, so he cannot come out. And this Brahman, he's, with his absolute focus, he's cooked a beautiful bhoga offering for his Gopal. And by this time, it is really, middle of a night. And, everybody's sleeping. The whole Navadvip is sleeping, and this Brahmana is cooking, for his Gopal. And he's bringing his, offering to his Gopal. And he's ringing his bell. And he's made sure, that nobody's around, especially Nimai, and then he saw that Jagannath Mishra is guarding that room. And I think there is no chance that anybody can disturb his offering. So, this Brahmana is ringing his bell, and that, Gopal, Krishna, this is a very small, humble offering for your pleasure. Please accept it for your pleasure. With the oceans of devotion and sincerity, is offering this bhoga offering to the Krishna, his Gopal, and it's lots and lots of devotion. He said, my Lord, please accept it, please accept it. So he's very sincerely praying, and on the other side, Nima, he wakes up, and he's a supreme personality of Godhead. When he appeared in Gokul, all the jail doors opened, all the guard went to sleep. So by this time, everybody went to a deep sleep, and the door opened, and Nimai came to the same place, where this Brahman was doing this offering. This Brahman, he was very, intensely, praying to Krishna, please accept this offering. And then, he opens his eyes, and lo and behold, Nimai, with his one hand, taking the bhoga and putting in his mouth. And this third time, now Brahman, he didn't shout. He couldn't believe his eyes, first of all. And then he said, my dear child, why do you keep eating from the Krishna's plate? Then Nimai said, why do you keep calling me and eat this plate? So Brahman did not understand, first of all, why he's saying like this. He said, you're asking me all the time. You're asking me to come and eat this food. And I'm coming and eating this food. And then you become angry. Why are you doing this to me? Lord Chaitanya is asking a counter question. So then, he said, boy, what do you mean? So Lord Chaitanya, Nimai said that, my dear Brahman, in the previous birth, you also came into Vrindavan, and you came to Nanda Baba's house, and you used to, and I gave my darshan to you. In this birth again, you again, you're coming to take my darshan. So he couldn't believe his eyes, this Brahmana. So then this boy Nimai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he showed his Sham Sundar form. He said, I am the same Gopal you have been worshipping throughout your life. And I am the same Sham Sundar, from Vrindavan. And then, this Brahman, he saw this beautiful darshan of his Gopal. And he was crying torrents of tears from his eyes that, my Lord, finally, you gave a darshan to me. And you personally came and accepted my offering. Then this Brahman was jumping and dancing, and and he was so happy, and he couldn't control his ecstasy. But then Nimai pacified the Brahman. He said, I've given you this darshan, but don't tell anybody that who am I, what is my original identity. You don't have to tell anybody. If you tell anybody, you will be ruined. So Lord Chaitanya threatened him, said, don't tell anybody. He said, my Lord, whatever you say, I follow your instruction. So then, then Nimai went back to his room, and the door closed, and then Jagannath Mishra, after some time, he woke up. And by this time, Brahman was so much in ecstasy. He was throwing the food everywhere. He was jumping and dancing. He was eating, and then he felt like he's become a like a madman. And then this was happening. Jagannath Mishra woke up, and then he came to the place, where this Brahman was dancing. So, this Brahman was very grave earlier, but now he's jumping and dancing. So as soon as, Jagannath Mishra came, the Brahman became a little sober. He said, he shouldn't see my ecstasy. Nobody should know what I've seen, a few minutes before. So then Jagannath Mishra said, so how was the offering? So Brahman said, offering was a grand success. Third time lucky. Krishna, my Gopal, he nicely, and accepted all the offering. And see, I'm also eating now, in your house. I had never eaten such a wonderful prasadam ever in my life. Then Jagannath Mishra was very happy. And then he said, my dear Brahman, I'm so happy that, you accepted prasadam at our house. And please keep giving me your darshan. So this Brahman, he said, yes, I don't want to leave Navdeep anymore. So this Brahman, actually, he had taken a vow that he will keep, going on a pilgrimage. He won't stay at one place. But from that day on, he decided, I will stay only in Vrindavan. Sorry, only stay in Navdeep. And then every day, he would come, on the pretext of begging from the house of Jagannath Mishra, just to take darshan of Nimai. And Nimai, and they had a secret dealing. Nimai would, say, yes, you are here. And then, this Brahman will look at this Nimai, take his darshan, and just by looking at him, he becomes so, jubilant, and, he would cry looking at him. And he wanted to tell everyone, especially Jagannath Mishra, that, your supreme personality of Godhead is residing in your house and you don't know this. But he couldn't tell because, Lord has warned him that don't tell anybody that, who am I? So then, Brahmana, he kept his promise. And then, and all of his life, he took darshan, at, of Nimai in Navdeep. And finally went back to Godhead. So this is a beautiful story. It is mentioned. Actually, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he mentions only, he tells the whole story in one shloka. And then he writes that actually this story is very elaborately described in Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. So he said, this because he doesn't wanted to, repeat, or because if previous acharyas described something, he didn't wanted to, follow proper Vaishnava etiquette of not going in different subject. So Lord Chaitanya, in this way, he used to have so many pastimes. That in fact, if you go to our ISKCON Desire Tree and look at the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya section, there are hundreds and thousands of classes of Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes. So this is one story, and the second story that we can discuss is the about the two thieves. So Lord Chaitanya, while he was growing up, his mother, would decorate him very nicely. And she would put very nice jewelry on her body. So, and Lord Chaitanya, everybody loved him so much, that he'll play with all the neighborhood ladies, all his friends. So the two thieves, they were passing by the house of Jagannath Mishra, and he saw this beautiful child, with lots of jewelry on his body. So they thought, first of all, they were so attracted by the beauty of this, small child, and they thought, we are a thief, so we must take this child and take this jewelry from his body, and we'll become very rich. So they came to, Nimai. I said, Nimai, come with us. We'll give you nice sweetmeats. We'll give you nice, sweets. Come with us. And Nimai, as we know in Chaitanya, Krishna's pastimes, many demons used to come. And Krishna will fulfill everybody's desire. Putana wanted to feed Krishna the poisonous milk. Krishna said, come on, give me. Uh, there's a Trinavrat came. Trinavrat wanted to kill Krishna, by strong wind. So Krishna, used his service to as a merry-go-round. Like a theme park ride. Uh, and Aghasur, Aghasur also wanted to kill Krishna, but Aghasur, Krishna used, his giant snake body to amuse his own friends. Uh, so Krishna will not reject anybody's service. Anybody wanted to come, okay, you can come. And even if they come with the wrong intent, Krishna will turn into positive. So these thieves said, come Nimai, I'll give you sweetmeats. I said, okay. So then they picked Nimai, and they put him on their shoulder. And now these thieves, yes, today they have won the loot of their life. Today they will go to the jungle and kill this child and take away all this jewelry, and they will become so rich that the rest of their life they don't have to do anything else, just enjoy on this wealth that they'll be having. And they're making so many plans. Huh? But as we know, Krishna, he's a Yogeshwar. The Maya, is her subordinate to her. So these two thieves, they were walking, but now they were so bewildered by Krishna's, Lord Chaitanya's, illusory energy. They came right back. They took kidnapped Lord Chaitanya, the same house where they kidnapped. And then they came there, and then suddenly they realized that they've come to the same place where they took Lord Chaitanya from. And then they become very afraid. And then they put Lord Chaitanya down and ran away. And by this time, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, they were a bit worried that Nimai was not found anywhere, and they were searching everywhere. And suddenly, these two men came, and so they asked Nimai, where were you? He said, I went to play, and these two nice gentlemen, they gave me sweetmeats, and so Jagannath Mishra wanted to reward them. Said, please come, but these thieves thought, that uh, uh, that they might punish us. So they just ran away. Now I was thinking, that in this story, we cannot even fathom the good fortune of these two thieves. First of all, to receive the benediction of taking the darshan of the Lord is so rare. Even says it is the Lord's darshan is not visible to even Lord Brahma, even Lord Shiva. They had to do so much austerity to take the darshan of Lord. But these two thieves, even though came with the wrong intent, they wanted to kill this child Nimai, and they had the good fortune of carrying the Lord on their back. Uh, uh, what a great benediction! That supreme personality of Godhead is riding on their back. Now this fortune is only given to very pure devotees, like Garud. Lord Narayan or Vishnu rides on the Garud. Nobody has got this good fortune of carrying the Lord on their back. But these two thieves, uh, they had this opportunity. They carried this child for quite some time on their back. uh, and Lord, even though they came with the wrong intent, he did not kill them. Lord Chaitanya accepted all the wonderful, service they did. They gave some sweetmeats, and in fact, for some time, they took Lord Chaitanya to a nice walk. They gave a nice time. So Lord Chaitanya, on the contrary, accepted, nice service from them. Uh, we saw in the earlier, story of this Brahmana. He got this opportunity to serve the Lord personally after so many lifetimes. But here, these thieves, uh, they came with the wrong intent, but still the Lord allowed them, and Lord accepted the service from these two thieves. Uh, so this is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. That in a one way, you know, we can also say we came in this world to enjoy the sense gratification in this world. So we are a thief in that way, in that sense. But by some good fortune, of our blessings of our Guru and Srila Prabhupada, somehow or other, we are, associated in this wonderful Hare Krishna, movement, where we are given this opportunity to cook for the Lord, to sing for the Lord, to dance for the Lord. Actually, we don't deserve any of these things. Still, with some mysterious reason, uh, the Krishna has allowed us into this, very intimate pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Uh, that disqualified we are, like those two thieves, but Lord is accepting our service. Uh, so this is, the great benediction that we have been, given. As we said right in the beginning of this chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Swami is saying, if you simply remember Lord Chaitanya, everything becomes easy. So to receive the bhakti, the devotional service to the Supreme Lord is very difficult. Very difficult, extremely difficult. It is not given to anyone. But as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, simply by remembering Lord Chaitanya, everything becomes very easy. The chanting becomes easy. Then offering or cooking for the Krishna becomes easy. The dancing becomes easy. The life becomes easy. Everything becomes absolutely easy. So this is the great benediction that Lord Chaitanya is giving us. Otherwise, just look at our heart. What do we really have to attract this great mercy? Lord Chaitanya is described as Namo Mahavadanyaya. He is the greatest benediction giver. Rupa Goswami says Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. That what Lord Chaitanya is giving, no other incarnation has ever given. He says just simply accept this, the most valuable gift that one can ever have, the gift of love of Krishna. Just accept it. And to receive this, whether you are qualified or unqualified, our only qualification is that just go and receive it. Lord is not saying how sinful you are, or how pious you are, or how, what birth you have, whether rich or a poor, whether you are a Kshudra or a Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya. He's not looking at any qualifications or disqualification. Simply accept this wonderful gift that he is giving to us. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, this supreme benediction of love of Krishna that Lord Chaitanya wants to distribute, Srila Prabhupada has come to our life and is asking us, accept this, take this. So we can't really, fathom the good fortune that we are bestowed upon. So by, when we read these beautiful chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita, we understand how fortunate we are. The only thing, when we receive some good fortune, we should be thankful. We should reciprocate. And the only way we can reciprocate is by accept this gift wholeheartedly, and treasure in our heart, uh, and give this gift to everybody else. This is the only we can reciprocate. We will be never be able to repay what Srila Prabhupada has given us, what Lord Chaitanya has given us. If we really want to repay what they have given us, we have to give it to everybody else. First receive it, treasure it, then give it to everybody else. So I thank you all very much for your kind attention and coming to this Friday class of Chaitanya Charitamrita. uh, I have no qualification to speak about this very esoteric topic, but I tried with my disqualifications and shortcomings. I hope you are pleased, and Prabhupada and all the acharyas are pleased with this. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If anybody has any questions or comments about today's discussion, I will just try, if I can, to answer your questions. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. What a wonderful class. This is very, very nice.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Gora Hari Mataji, for encouraging me. Thank you. Okay, so if there is no questions or comments, then on today, Gunaraj Prabhu is not able to join us today, so he just asked me to do a couple of announcements. That on Sunday we'll be having a Bhagavad Gita class by His Grace Dinabandhu Prabhu. And our topic is 3 types of understanding. They'll be talking from Bhagavad Gita. So I request all of you to please come. Dinabandhu Prabhu is very qualified and very knowledgeable person to talk on this topic. So this will be on the Sunday on our online class. It will be starting at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. On the following Thursday, we have a very wonderful festival called Sri Advaita Charya's Appearance Day. So that we'll be celebrating. Generally, Advaita Charya's appearance is the first festival in our year. So we do it very nicely in temple, but this year, because of the lockdown, we won't be able to do that. So we'll be doing it online on the Zoom call. So the schedule of that event will be sent out to all of you very soon. But it'll be evening program, most likely at 7 o'clock in the evening. So that is on this Thursday, 18th of February. So thank you all very much. Madhav Kumar Prabhu, do you have any other announcements to make?
No, just thank you very much, Prabhu, again for the sweet narration of the Lord's pastimes. We've heard these, but then the more you hear, the more you want to. And obviously, your style of narration is very interesting as well. So thank you for all that. Wonderful. Just wanted to share that if anybody is keen on reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's a nice little set of 9 books we have available, and whether you want it for yourself or you want to give it as a gift, please feel free to reach out and we can support you with that. It's a nice collection of wonderful literature in any household. So we're here to serve. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madhav Kumar Prabhu. And just before we go, I'd like to share the news with all of you that our dear Sarvaga Krishna Prabhu's mother, she left her body in India today morning, India time about 5:30 in the morning. So we are very, sad to receive this news. She was very wonderful, lovely lady, very loving to all the devotees. She visited quite a few times in Manchester. And I request all the devotees to pray for her safe and onward journey towards the lotus feet of Krishna. She did so many services when she was in Manchester. We all remember she used to do wonderful garland seva for Panchatattva. She would personally make a garland of small flowers from the back garden of their house. So whoever does any service to Lord Chaitanya, his or her journey to the lotus feet of Krishna is guaranteed. So I please pray for our safe journey onwards. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Pruji, can I just also add that today, unfortunately, we lost another family member for one of the devotees. Hamsini Sachi Mataji lost her husband today. So he passed away this afternoon. He was suffering from terminal illness. He was in the hospice. And he was a great support for Mataji all through her journey. Up till taking initiation. For 4 years, when we did the Wrexham Namahata, he used to come every month and participate wonderfully and encourage the rest of the family. So he was quite dear to all of us as well. So just unfortunate. Please pray for Ken Prabhu's onward journey as well. And if you know Hamshini Mataji personally, please, it'd be nice to extend a message of condolences to her and the family also. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mother Kumar Prabhu, for giving us opportunity to glorify these two souls passing away. So it is said that the Lord takes devotees' prayers very sincerely. So if you all like to do, you can unmute your microphone, and if you also want, you can show your screen, and let's chant 3 times from the core of our heart, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra together, for the the better onward journey of this soul who left their body today. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
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 Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare
Ram,
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 Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Rama Hare
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 Ram, Ki Jai.
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare.
Thank you very much for attending today's class. Hare Krishna. So we'll see you on Sunday, 1 o'clock for the Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful class.
Hare Krishna.